you are black, or if you have black parents, or if you were raised by blackness, then you have heard this phrase. You gotta work twice as hard to get half as much or just as much as everybody else. Am I lying? Maybe they said it different, but they said something like that. So I know a lot of people who are not black have never heard that phrase, or maybe you've heard your black friends talking about it and you were like, I don't get it. I want to talk about that because this weekend I saw that in full bloom and in full blossom, and I was like, this is a great example of what that phrase looks like that a lot of times people really don't understand. People don't really get it. So a lot of you guys know I work with a thing called the Teen Summer Musical. It happens in the summer because, teen summer musical, right? It's a performing arts program, right? Kids of color mostly, do theater. Well, last weekend I went to see a show over on Mercer Island, and it featured a bunch of our kids from the Teen Summer Musical. And it was a great show. Nothing bad to say about the show. It was a great show. But it was on Mercer Island. And I'll talk about that in a second. The show was Ragtime. Now, for those who don't know, Ragtime is a period piece. It's set probably in the late 1800s to early 1900s, maybe. And essentially, it deals with a lot of issues about race and immigration and what's America all about. It's a pretty heavy show, but it's set on top of this really upbeat, fun music called Ragtime. And the idea is that while people of color were playing this beautiful, fun, and happy music, they were enduring some significant oppressions, put on us by this country. So anyway, they're doing this show over on Mercer Island. Now, maybe you don't know. If you don't live in the Pacific Northwest or you don't live in the Seattle area, then you have no way of knowing that Mercer Island is not known for its blackness. Did I say that right? Can I say that? Did I say that right? I'm not saying that there are no black people there. I'm just saying you're not going to drive through Mercer Island and see the barbecue. You're just not. I'm just saying, you're just not. Okay? The Essence Festival is not going to Mercer Island. Okay? I'm just saying Mercer Island does not have an abundance of hair care products for me. They don't. May or may not have Lowry's and Johnny's at the grocery store. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying they may not. They may not. They may not. And so they were doing this show at a theater on Mercer Island. And the show is called Ragtime. Got it? Got it? You got it? Okay. They wanted to do a show that had more substance than just sort of, some of the happy-go-lucky shows that you typically do with young people. And so they called someone associated with the program that I work with and said, hey, we want to do Ragtime, but here's the thing. We can't find, or we don't have, kids of color, particularly African-American kids. We don't have them in our program. But we've heard about your program, and we heard your program is great, and maybe we can partner. So the person they called said, sure, let's do it, which I think is great. Let's partner. Let's do it together. Wonderful. So a bunch of African-American kids from the program that I've been a part of decide that they want to participate, or they're going to be a part of this program over on Mercer Island, because why? Mercer Island needs them to tell this story. Now, here's the thing. Most of the African-American kids live somewhere in Seattle or South Seattle or Kent or even further out, which is probably 10 to 17 to maybe even 20 miles worth of distance, depending on where they might live. So every day that they would have to go to practice at this Mercer Island Theater, they would have to actually agree to meet at a certain location and all get a ride over to Mercer Island. Have I mentioned that Mercer Island is across the bridge, probably another 15 miles or so? Are you tracking me? Are you tracking? So, no problem. They travel over to Mercer Island to be a part of this Ragtime and have this experience with the Mercer Island Theater. Okay. So now here's where it gets tricky. I asked the question, or did the kids get paid to be in this theater production? Did any of the kids get paid to be in this theater production? Not just the African American kids, but any kids. And they said, no, the kids don't get paid to be in this production. They actually have to pay a fee to be in this program. Like a nice hefty fee. I won't say how much because I don't know it factually, but they have to pay like a significant fee to actually be in this program on Mercer Island. Mind you, the program that we do in the summer, our kids actually get paid to do that program. Important note. So they said, because we need your kids to be in our show, we'll waive that fee for the African American kids. Don't be fooled. I know somebody's thinking like, oh, nice, easy, great. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Our kids don't have to pay the fee to be in the show that you called because you need them to be in your show. Hold on a second. That might sound like it's fair. That might sound like it's a nice trade-off. But it's not, because one, you called them to be in your show because you needed them to tell this story and you needed their caliber of talent. It's cool that the fee got waived, but our kids literally had to travel twice as far for twice as long as any kid from Mercer Island. Mercer Island is not a big place. It's not a sprawling city. And if you live on Mercer Island, you could probably get to rehearsal, I would say, anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. And your parents probably drove you, or you carpooled with a friend who's already in the cast, or whatever. But almost anywhere from Mercer Island only takes about 10 to 20 minutes at the most. Our kids are coming from over 20 miles away, if not more. They're having to meet at one time to all get there together. And then when they leave, they have to do it all over again. And I don't know if the carpool person dropped them off at their front door or if they got dropped off at the carpool spot and then they had to catch the bus to wherever their homes were. I'm thinking it's the second. But think about that. Our kids had to travel twice as far to get there and then travel twice as far to get back home. So let me get this straight. You needed black kids for your play, specifically black kids. So you partnered with an organization that works with black kids. The black kids come, you waive the fee, but you don't make up for the extra work that they have to do to be a part of your program, to be part of a show that you needed them for. And what I heard was when somebody invited them to come back on the other side of the bridge and be part of the Teen Summer Musical, that didn't go over so good. Can't imagine why. Can't imagine why. It's the same bridge. By definition, a bridge goes both ways. Not the body roll. Did I just body roll? Okay. So every day when they left for school, they would have to leave first thing in the morning with all their stuff for the rest of the day. So their school stuff and their rehearsal stuff. So they had to either pack their dinner or buy dinner on the way. And then that means they don't get a nap, then homework. They either do homework in the carpool on the way there, or they do homework on the carpool on the way back. Maybe they wait till they get home, which is like 9 o'clock at night, because they can't go to school without having their homework done just because they're in some play. It's a lot of extra stuff. I think a little equity was missing. I'm just saying. I love the partnership. It was wonderful to go there and see our kids in that play killing it, doing amazing, but they should have been compensated for the extra that they had to do to be in this show that Mercer Island needed them to be in. That's what it feels like. That's what it looks like when we say you have to work twice as hard to get just as much or half as much as everybody else. That's what it looks like. Let me know what you think. I haven't done one of these in a while, but in case you didn't know, this is called Excuse My Language, and it's just my thoughts. And it's just my thoughts about my opinions and my opinions about my thoughts. I don't mean no harm. I'm just trying to help the people. I think Bill Gates lives on Mercer Island. I'm pretty sure Billy William lives on Mercer Island. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me know what you think.